And my pleasure to welcome you to this edition of the program. Now, back in April, the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency presented flood prediction for 2019. This served as early warning to people living in communities located in floodplains, especially the coastal dwellers. The flood prediction also served as a wake-up call for key players to stimulate necessary actions to mitigate the adverse effects of floods to lives and property. What is, however, worrisome to environmental experts is the unpredictable nature of urban flooding, usually caused by sudden and heavy rainfall, too much to permeate into the ground, which eventually finds escape route. Well, much of urban flood disasters is linked to climate change, widely blamed for upturning certain predictions. But be that as it may, flood forecast by the Hydrological Agency indicates a high probability that 74 local government areas will witness high flood risks. Many states, including the FCT, will experience different levels of flooding. The high probable and vulnerable states are Osun, Oyo, Lagos, Benue, Plateau, Abia, Edo, Delta, Anambra, and Cross River states. So others may also join. Tonight on this show, we will examine the nation's preparedness to mitigate the impact of the predicted flooding in Nigeria in 2019. What should be the rules of players or planners and policymakers at both federal and state levels in the actualization of adequate mitigation actions and programs? Does any synergy exist between relevant authorities and that of the riparian countries of River Niger and Benue for the control of the release of water from dams? These are some of the issues yearning for analysis. My name is Kiren Umayo, and I thank you for tuning in to this edition of the program. For us now, the news is next. The federal government has adopted a data-driven decision-making system for all ministries, departments, and agencies to fast-track national development. Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Winifred Oyo Ita, said this at a 5-day training program for civil servants in Abuja. Debola Brooklyn Sunday has that report.
Investigations have shown that most ministries, departments, and agencies work with estimated data for decision-making. This challenge is what the 5-day training program on survey design, data investigation, and reporting for civil servants seeks to address. Hello. Participants were taken through the modern way of collection, analyzing, interpretation, and application of data. Analysis of data. Permanent Secretary, Service Policies and Strategies Office said the era of relying on hearsay over government's policies without any statistical backup is over, and civil servants through data-driven method will lead the way. Addressing the trainees, Mrs. Oyoite said federal government has procured specialized softwares for the implementation of the policy to enable post-training learning.
If we do not train ourselves to be technologically capable of meeting up the demands that we face every day, then even the socio-economic development of Nigeria would be at risk.
I believe with all certainty that they will be able to contribute immensely to the development of the Federal Civil Service.
We can now give interpretations, analyze our data, and give reports.
78 civil servants participated in the pilot program. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
The successful election of the president of the 74th United Nations General Assembly, UNGA, for Professor Tijani Muhammad Bande, did not come on a silver platter. In this special report, Joy Osiago examines the power of engagement and partnerships adopted by the Nigerian team as game-changing strategies for the African presidency of the 74th UNGA.
Meet Professor Tijani Muhammad Bande, Nigeria's permanent representative to the United Nations, and his deputy, Ambassador Samson Itegbuje. They worked together as a team at the United Nations to establish and nurture long-term partnerships to drive Nigeria's agenda while advocating and implementing reforms that support the United Nations' diverse and challenging priorities. They used the same template in the build-up to Professor Bande's election as the president of the 74th session of the United Nations General Assembly.
Delegations on board because they see reflected in our vision statement things that resonate with them in terms of importance and urgency. Over the last few years, we have worked with literally all delegations to solve this or that problem.
There were some few countries that were to run with us. So due to diplomatic shuttles both from here and headquarters and the presidency, they stepped down. And when we started this journey, what we did was to run from every level to buy into our candidacy. Professor Bande is loved by his colleagues. Why is it so? Because he's a very humble man. And more importantly, Professor Bande has the support of Mr. President, His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari.
In an evolving global environment, what is required for success is positive engagement and partnerships.
The President of the General Assembly has only 1 year to galvanize support at the highest level on some matters that are crucial.
Right now, we have countries who have pledged to give us personnel. Some have pledged to give us money to run the office of the President of the General Assembly.
Well, September is just around the corner. The world is eager to see the value the African and Nigerian presidency will add to this multilateral organization. From the United Nations headquarters in New York, Joy Usiago, NTA News.
Thank you, Joe. Certainly values will be added. Now, moving on, the chairman, Nigeria Railway Corporation Board, Alhaji Ibrahim Al-Hassan, has assured Nigerians of the completion of the 158-kilometer Lagos-Ibadan rail line project. He disclosed this after a train ride from Lagos to Ibadan in company of board members and management of the Nigeria Railway Corporation. Tunde Saiki was there for NTA News.
The monthly inspection of the Lagos-Ibadan Railway project, which was hitherto supervised by the former Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, had the chairman of the board on the saddle. Following a hitch-free ride from Iju, Lagos State to Ologweru in Ibadan, Oyo State, the chairman commended the contractors handling the project for the progress of work. He said over 153 kilometers of the railway track on one lane have been covered. He disclosed that the remaining 4 kilometers will be completed in the coming week.
The second track stopped at 140 kilometers mark. And I believe by the end of July, both tracks will be at the Ibadan station. We want to complete this as quickly as we can so that other auxiliary services could continue.
The managing director of the Nigerian Railway Corporation, Fida Tokiria, said some of the challenges holding the Lagos axis is being handled effectively and its completion will be made soon.
The Keja end, the Eldorado end, we have found solution to it. The flour mill to the ports, we have found solution to it. Then there are places we have generator at Oshodi. They already removed the generator.
Officials of the corporation says when the Lagos-Ibadan Rail project is completed, the Ibadan-Kano project will take off later in the year. In Lagos, Tunde Saiki, NTA News.
Now, the presidency has welcomed the report of the European Union on the 2019 general elections in Nigeria, promising to analyze it fully and act on the recommendations. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba notes that the EU observers had been invited to the country by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and welcomed by the government of President Muhammadu Buhari. This was a clear indication of the administration's good intentions, commitment to a pure democratic process, and desire to improve for the next elections. According to the statement, the EU also noted that there were marked improvements from previous elections, although stating that more work needed to be done It states further that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari will work with all Nigerian citizens, state institutions, parties, civil society organizations, the media, and other experts to make sure that the improvements recommended by the EU are implemented and that these areas of concern are addressed. Individuals or groups dealing with child-related cases in Nigeria can now access uniform, adequate, and reliable data as the National Child Protection Information Management System comes on board. This was put together by the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs and UNICEF. Momso Damian Dati reports.
Asmau Bensis-Liu works with the National Emergency Management Agency. She is one of the 30 trained persons from different ministries, departments and agencies on operational relevance in child protection data and interventions.
Children in emergency situations suffer a lot from abuse, neglect, and exploitation. So it is important for my agency to participate so that in terms of our intervention, planning, and strategies, we'll be able to put this knowledge we've gained into good use.
Asmau and other trainees, as well as other key parties, are at this launch of the National Child Protection Information Management System, designed to strengthen interagency approach to child protection case management in Nigeria.
We work electronically. This particular software will enable us to establish and maintain linkages with other levels of operation, with other stakeholders like the states from the federal government.
And it enables all of the data to come together, both at a state level but also at a federal level, to be collated, analyzed, and to inform strategies in order to help prevent and respond to violence against children.
Protection issues of education, protection issues of health, protection issues of nutrition, a whole lot of issues of protection are packaged in the CPIMS.
The formal inauguration of this office in the ministry indicates a change in the old narrative. Momso Damian Dati, NTA News.
A renewed effort is on to eradicate street begging, popularly known as almajiri in northern Nigeria, with a resource center for human rights and civic education leading the advocacy. Ruth Agole reports.
It is the common norm to see uncared children begging for food on the streets. With no parental love, education, clothing, and other basic requirements. These children are usually referred to as almajiri, which is prevalent in the north. Advocates see this as abuse of child rights that has exposed hundreds of these street children to dangers and to societal ills. Now, the Resource Center for Human Rights and Civic Education is collecting data on almajiris in northern Nigeria with a view to curbing the trend.
We recognize there have been a plethora of interventions at state and non-state level aimed at addressing the issues of almajiri in northern Nigeria. This mindset informed the design and implementation of this project of combating forced child begging in Nigeria.
It is the belief here that reforming the almajiri system can be achieved through a collective responsibility and active participation of all.
Nobody is against giving these children religious education. It has to be regulated, it has to be controlled. Everybody must be involved.
Civil society has to come in with issues of accountability, and then of course donor groups and international community also has to come in.
Experts believe the time to act is now. In Abuja, Ruth Aguela, NTA News.
Let's switch to security matters. Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, has warned officers and men of the Nigerian Air Force not to allow themselves to be used by disgruntled elements to undermine national defense and security. The Chief of the Air Staff gave the warning at the combined graduation of Regiment and Force Protection Air personnel in Kaduna. Suleiman Abdullahi Rikachikum reports.
A practical display of operational capability by 611 graduating students, comprising 34 students of the Basic Regiment Officers Course, 35 Advanced Regiment Airmen Course, 542 students of the Basic Regiment Airmen Course, and 151 air police force trained on force protection and complex air-ground engagements.
Our pragmatic approach to training has improved our capacity to secure our bases as well as critical national assets and infrastructure, while at the same time improving the capacity of Nigerian Air Force to respond to national emergencies and crisis situations.
Chief of the Air Staff Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar acknowledged the proficiency of the graduates in the protection of air assets and national security. He warned officers and men of the Nigerian Air Force not to indulge in acts capable of undermining national security.
We will be operating at a time when our nation is facing numerous security challenges. We must therefore remain disciplined, vigilant, and always guard your utterances and conducts. Also, you must not allow yourselves to be used by disgruntled elements in the society to further their aims and objectives.
A total of 2,872 force protection cage personnel have so far been trained since 2015. In Kaduna, I am Suleiman Abdullahi Gachiku, NTA News.
Leaders must make commitment towards alleviating poverty in order to reduce violence and crimes in the nation. This is the standpoint of speakers at the 4th National Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaatul Islamiyya of Nigeria Symposium in Abuja. Aisha Obali reports that they also describe dialogue as key to addressing any kind of conflict.
Violence and conflict have been major issues in Nigeria, and concerned groups have identified these factors as major catalysts and their unrest affecting many communities across the country. However, current efforts have been made to see how these issues can be addressed, and for this reason, men and women from the two major religions, as well as others like Hare Krishna, converge on Abuja to provide solutions to some issues of national interest. In line with the theme, religious tolerance and national peace, a collective responsibility, speakers said sincerity among religious leaders, God's consciousness, as well as love for all and hate for none, is imperative.
If I want to follow the will of following a lot of universe, then I would strive to pursue well-being of all people, even at a sacrifice to myself. In technical terms, we say the problems are what we call syncretism. That is when we start mixing our culture, what have you, to religion. So in the final analysis, even the religion is distorted.
And it's a beautiful initiative that I pray that God will continue to strengthen the Ahmadiyya mission.
You know, it's like a religious duty to respect the religion of others. The Quran says, do not insult their religion, so that they do not insult your own religion, your own God.
That tolerance is a basic principle of all religions. It is a religious and moral duty which should not and must not necessarily mean compromise, lack of principle, or lack of seriousness.
The symposium is part of Ahmadiyya's effort towards contributing to national development. In Abuja, Aisha Obali, NTA.
Thank you, Aisha. Now, since the historic 2012 flooding in the country, attention has been directed at preventive mechanisms to mitigate flood occurrence. What are those measures, and how can they go? How far can they go? Find out from our correspondence report and the conversation that follows after the break. Join us again.
They are there at the crack of dawn. They are there busy preparing while we rise for our day. They are there silently, guarding, waiting, listening, and watching. They are there ready in the sky above and the waters below, in the blistering heat of the day, in the dead of night, willing, indefatigable, determined in the defense of the sovereignty of our country. They are our first line of defense and our last. They who have paid the ultimate price in defending us. They are fathers and uncles. They are mothers and sisters and girlfriends and boyfriends. They are brothers and cousins and best friends and neighbors. They are classmates, colleagues, and citizens of this nation. They are our defenders and deserve our respect, our prayers, our thoughts. Nigeria, please support our armed forces.
Enjoy the best of African football as NTA, Africa's largest television network and hotspots, Nigeria's foremost sports production and marketing company, bring you all 52 matches of the Africa Cup of Nations, Egypt 2019 live from June 21 to July 19, 2019. Yes, all 52 games will hit your screens in crystal clear digital quality. It's your guarantee of a memorable viewing experience and a wonderful cost-effective opportunity for corporate Nigeria to reach tens of millions of Nigerians. For sponsorship and commercial support, contact Abubakar on 0803-331-0175 and Felix on 0803-308-2375. Hot Sports, masters of the game. NTA, you can't beat the reach.
Now time to bring in our correspondents. And we begin from Jigawa State, where there seems to be apprehension of a repeat of 2018 flood disaster. Abdullahi Garba Binikutu reports that the concern is coming from both victims of last year's incident and environment experts. Abdullahi gives us an insight into why the concern.
People of Jigawa State, especially in 19 out of the 27 local government areas, will not forget in a hurry the devastating effect of flood waters in both farmlands and residential areas that destroyed more than 90,000 hectares of cultivable land. But the question in the minds of many is what are the measures introduced by those affected communities and government to prevent similar disaster? This prompted NTA's weekend file crew to our local government, an area worst hit by the natural calamity last year. Although there are conscious efforts by government to rebuild some of the wash-away embankments that would prevent overflowing of the rivers, there are, however, complaints over attitude of some farmers who break these embankments for irrigation purposes. Farmers are also expressing fear over a possible repeat of the flood in the farmlands if permanent solution is not found from the overflowing rivers.
Let us put hands together. Before they do anything, let them come and invite us. Let them come to find the people, the dwellers of the environment, to tell them the genesis, the places where brought this, which the flood take roots.
Going around residential areas shows life has returned to normal for the victims of last year's flood disaster. They, however, move again to same waterways to rebuild their houses.
So what we do, we wrote a letter to the relevant agencies to go and see for themselves to make an embankment along the river so that this year the water does not flood again.
Environmental experts believe there is need for people to join hands with government by avoiding building on waterways and clearance of drainages to avoid recurrent flood disaster in Jigawa State. From Dutse, Abdullahi Garba Kudu, NTA News.
And as the saying goes, if wishes were horses, everyone would ride. And that seems to resonate in Lagos, where if it were possible for those in flood-prone areas, they would wish away the rainy season. Well, we need not to overstress this symbiotic relationship between Lagos and flood. Jennifer Igwe takes us from here.
Lagos, Center of Excellence. The state has a long list of flood-prone areas spread across low, middle-income and high-brow neighborhoods. They include Surulere, Bariga, Iwaya, Ajegunle, Oshodi, Ayobo, and many others on the mainland. And on the island, high-brow Ikoyi, Lekki, Aja, and Victoria Island. So when it comes to challenges of flooding in Lagos, the rich also cry.
When you have sand field everywhere, when you are paved everywhere so that the natural soil and the trees that soak up water have been cut. So what happens then is the water runs up very fast and causes floods.
Although the state government is making efforts to clear drainage channels, they always end up clogged almost soon after they are excavated. Olaogun Street in Itire Ikate local government development area in Lagos State is a classic example. Now for people in this area, when it rains, they go to bed with one eye open.
It won't get worse about 30 years ago. But when government give us this canal during the time of Governor Raji Fashola, because that is the year they constructed this canal, so we feel relief more.
Swampy nature of the environment and gutters that do not connect and lead to nowhere are the cause of the flooding challenge in areas like Olaogun and its environs. The situation is compounded by indiscriminate disposal of waste that clog the few existing gutters. So even when the canal is free, rainwater never drains into it. The state government has advised those in flood-prone areas to relocate during the rainy season. Relocation could work for many in highbrow neighborhoods, but for those in low-income areas, it is a plan too fat for their lean purse.
It's about money now. To go and get a house now is not very easy.
Unfortunately, in spite of worries and challenges of those in flood-prone areas, more intense rainfalls are expected, going by predictions of climate change experts. In Lagos, Jennifer Igwe, NTA News.
The scenario in Kogi is not much different, but appears to be more pathetic. Austin Anyebe reports that in the absence of alternative places, victims of 2018 flood have reverted to their former abode as flood water becomes imminent.
The rainy season comes with blessings to the human race for many reasons, which include famine. But to some settlers in some parts of Kogi State, messing of rains is a nightmare. This is because it signals warning to them to begin to relocate. This has been the plight of thousands of households that live along the banks of River Niger and Benue, who have for years now been faced with flood disaster. NT News visited a settlement in Local Goma, a community devastated by flood in 2012 and 2018, and discovered that the people are back with normal life after spending months at the internally displaced camps in Lokoja. This is the case with people in other communities in Kutunkarfi, Garanja Village, Ibaji, and host of others in 9 local government areas of Kogi State.
There's no peace of mind at all for us whenever there's a rainy season like this, so we're always scared.
But why are you not thinking of moving to a better place?
So, if we have the capacity financially.
This is my house, I cannot leave it. To go and rent a house at another place to have me.
Pressing to find out what authorities saddled with prevention and management of disasters are doing to avert recurrence of the flood in 2019.
By NIHSA prediction this year, ordinarily flood shouldn't happen in Kogi State. However, it is just a prediction, and so there can be deviation.
We'll go around, we sensitize them and let them move where there are areas where they can move to, and those who have been given allocation in the flood estate, they should go and maintain those allocations and leave those areas permanently so that the government can make proper arrangements.
For now, all that is being done is to sensitize the people by asking them to move to safer areas instead of waiting for disaster to occur. In Lokoja, I'm Austin Anyebe, NT News.
And in Delta State, there seems to be the proverbial light at the end of the tunnel. Only this time, the storm drain project being executed by the state government is expected to sustain respite from perennial flood. Thelma Eliago tells us more.
I was a victim of the floods of 2012. Apart from also being a victim, I was at the center of also managing the 2012 IDPs. I know so many medium-scale farming and large-scale farmers left farming as a result of 2012 floods.
The first snowfall, one check the first water don't cover everything. It destroyed cassava and plantain.
Sights and sound of the nightmarish experiences of Deltons and other residents in the state, occasioned by perennial flooding, successive administrations from the national to the local councils, concerned authorities, and well-meaning individuals have always come to the rescue.
Where do you want us to relocate? Leaving our entire place to go to where? Who will provide us the land to live? Who have been living here for many years and will continue to be here.
These harrowing experiences are about to be committed to the dustbin of history by the Okowa-led administration, which took the bold step in 2017 to decisively deal with the challenge.
I think that with the completion of all this, to reduce markedly the water overflow or the flooding that we're having in Asaba, but there is still a lot more to be done.
Increased sensitization of the residents to contribute less to the menace is on and is expected to continue.
We have jingles for early warnings. Make sure the moment you see that the water level is going up, start getting your things ready.
Some residents have started testifying to the effectiveness of the storm drain.
If it was not for that thing they are doing now, I think we would have had an area occurrence.
Before, when it rained in Asaba, you can't step out.
The storm drain is expected to be completed in December. In Asaba, Thelma Elio, NTA News.
All right, you're watching Weekend File on the network service of the NTA. Our guest tonight on the program is Clement Onyaso, the Director General of the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency. Will be speaking to us in a very short while on issues at stake. That will be very soon. Stay with us.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous, whether you do it for fun or for political gains. Real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
One Football Confederation, 24 teams, 6 stadiums, 4 cities, 504 African stars, 1 trophy. The Africa Cup of Nations Egypt 2019 comes alive from June 21 with the showpiece final on July 19, 2019. Watch the 52 matches of the tournament live on Africa's biggest and largest television network, NTA, in partnership with Hot Sports. Be part of the biggest soccer fiesta in the African continent as the Super Eagles go on a bold mission to clinch the prestigious title for the 4th time, to the excitement of millions of fans across the length and breadth of Nigeria. Nigeria's premier sports production and marketing group, Hot Sports, partners with the biggest, the largest, and the #1 television network in Africa, the NTA, to give Nigerians a memorable viewing experience. Boost fan support for the Super Eagles to glory in Egypt. For inquiries, please contact Abubakar on 0803-331-0175 and Felix on 0803-308-2375. NTA, you can't beat the rich.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online, or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can't beat the rich.
Now, joining me now in the studio is the Director General of the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, Engineer Clement Onyaso. It's good to have you on Weekend File.
Thank you, Kirian.
Yeah, let's begin by taking you back to the prediction of in April, which your agency, presented to Nigeria. We have highlights of some of those predictions and how that has affected any part of Nigeria. We're just in the middle of the year, and the rain has just set in.
Okay, thank you, Kirian. The Nigeria Hydrological Service Agency made public the 2019 annual flood outlook on the 30th of April 2019. From our prediction, there are 74 local government areas in Nigeria that are highly probable in terms of flooding this year. And this is spread across about 30 states. Then about 279 local government areas less probable. Then the remaining local government areas is likely can be neither here or there. So 74 local government areas across 30 states, highly probable in terms of flooding. Then 279, quite probable also. So this is the highlight of our prediction for 2019. And then in terms of area spread, area coverage, 2019 is expected to be less than that of 2018.
All right, in 2012, we had what could be described as a wild and a devastating flood, in the history of this country. And between that and now, we've also had flood disasters, but none has been up to that magnitude. Now, from your prediction, one would have loved to ask you to let us know factors that actually aggravate the occurrence of flood.
You see, the 2012 flood incident, took Nigerians unawares. I think we classify it as about a 100-year return interval. So it has not happened in a very long while. So we are taken unawares. Then from 2013, our agency commenced preparing the prediction to inform the country what to expect each year. So the one that took place this year is the 7th edition. So we believe to a large extent that the awareness being created since 2013 to date has gone a long way to reduce the impact, because some proactive measures have been taken by various state governments and some stakeholders have been taking some steps. Because when we do the prediction, we try to downscale it to some communities or zones in the country to really bring it closer home, using their local dialects to inform them. And then some states have been taking some actions that, to some extent, has reduced the impact of the flood, so that we have not had it yet at that 2012.
Okay, let's talk about the accuracy of this prediction, because in one of the reports we just showed, one lady was just saying, well, it's just prediction that it may not happen. And also, there's a traditional ruler who particularly said that when you say that we should move, say, move to where? And so what is the accuracy of this prediction? Are people really sure that the areas that you have predicted will really have the cost to have a plan B?
Okay, as an agency, we are not particularly concerned with the accuracy. In other words, when we say there will be flood in Kogi and Abuja, and it happens, we are not quite happy that it should be so. We expect that when we say it, people should take measures to ensure that it doesn't happen. So when we talk about the degree of accuracy, in 2013, we achieved about 70% accuracy, in the sense that the area that we said that flood will occur, it occurred like that. But with the passage of time, people began to take precautionary measures, cleaning the drainages, removing structure within the flood plains, and not building within natural flood plains. So such helped to the extent to reduce total accuracy I'm talking about, because the prediction is scientifically based. The agency measures most of the rivers in Nigeria. We have about 100 rivers in Nigeria. So the agency has equipment in all of this. We take daily data about the discharge, the rate of flow, and the stage, the fluctuations. Daily we take it. So based on that, these rivers we measure, we are able to come up to tell you this is what will happen, especially when now the rainfall period starts in Nigeria. So now the issue of relocation is quite a pity. Like we tell people relocate, and we will ask as an agency to where. It requires the state governments taking some proactive measures, like a state government mentioned some years back, of having what they call a wet housing and dry housing program. It said that they build some structures upland, so that during the rainy season, mainly July, August, September of each year, people are moved to those locations to go and stay. Then during the dry period, they can return to the place they do their economic activities within the river banks. But if you refuse to move, something will move you. But you have to live to be able to know that maybe you say I have been living here for decades or for centuries. Some will say, this is where my forefathers were buried. It will be quite disastrous. Your children will not even know where you are buried when the flood carries you away. So the best that could be done is to move, go to safe lands, especially during these few months of about 4 months in a year.
So whether the prediction is accurate or not, so you should plan ahead if you live on flood plains. Okay, now there is this insinuation that other agencies of government, who should actually work with your own agency, are rather reactive than being proactive, because I want to believe that the hydrological agency alone cannot really help matters when it comes to mitigation, when it comes to preventive measures, or when it comes to actual flooding, where the other agencies are required to, of course, assist the victims. So in this connection, is there any synergy between your agency and other agencies of government who are directly or indirectly concerned about flooding in Nigeria?
Well, I would not completely agree with you in terms of other agencies being reactive. Earlier in the year, precisely January 24th, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIHSA, went on air to inform Nigerians about rainfall pattern for the year. The onset date per city, when will the rainfall start in so city, the date of cessation. So they came up with it and told us, Nigerians, this is the amount of rainfall you'll be expecting, precipitation you will expect in a year. So this is a first step. Then following that, the Nigerian Hydrological Service Agency picked up from there and also comparing other data we have to come up with prediction in April also to ensure that there is early preparation. And when we are doing our prediction, making it public, we invite stakeholders. NIHSA is there. NOA, we invite NOA, which has offices all over the country, so that they will also help to translate what we have spoken in certain languages to the grassroots. Since they have offices in several and four local government areas in Nigeria, NOA should have the capacity to disseminate this information. And then we'll also bring in the state SEMAs, state emergency management agencies. They are part and parcel of what we do to inform them early. In Nigeria, flooding often occurs mainly during the July, August, September months. But the one that occur right away now is the one we call urban flooding, aggravated by lack of drainages and poor urban planning, people building within the water courses. So there is plans are being made early, being made available early, disseminated early. But the problem is whether people are taking precaution.
Okay, thank you. Now let's talk about, you mentioned we have about 100 rivers in Nigeria. Now Benue and Niger often burst their banks, especially between the months you mentioned, July and October. And over time, this has caused serious flooding and damage in areas, in places like Kogi, Delta, Adamawa, and even Anambra State. Now, how can this be minimized? Is there any possibility of any mechanism that could minimize the overflowing of these rivers? Would there be better precautionary measure that would be physical, that could be taken, to prevent the overbusting of the blanks from affecting communities?
Okay, these two rivers you mentioned, Niger and Benue, are transboundary rivers that cut across West and Central Africa. River Niger, for instance, took off from the Footajolan Highlands in Guinea, traversed about 4,200 kilometers before emptying into the Atlantic Ocean. That's River Niger. So we cannot control what happens in Guinea, in Mali, Niger, Benin, before coming to Nigeria, or even Burkina Faso and Cote d'Ivoire that empty into River Niger. And then on River Benue, you have Chad, you have Cameroon. The water of those areas, they all converge, they meet in Lokoja. So Nigeria in Lokoja is the convergence of all these major rivers. Now, what could be done? Water is a very big natural resource, which in Nigeria we have it in abundance. We have been advocating that states through which these rivers pass should be able to construct some diversions, wherein they will minimize the rate of flow, they will impound this water, instead of Nigeria losing over 200 billion cubic meters of fresh water annually into the Atlantic Ocean, which you don't recover. Annually, we lose it. Annually. Now, on River Niger, we are safe to some extent in the sense that we have Kainji and Jeba dams. And as an agency, we monitor whatever is happening right from Guinea. There's a collaboration within the Niger Basin Authority, 9 member countries. So whatever is happening in any portion of River Niger or River Benue, we have information about it. But the much we can do as an agency is to inform maybe the dam operator in Kainji. This is the volume of water that's coming into your dam. We tell you what you should do. But unfortunately, on the River Benue axis, there's no dam on the Nigerian portion. That is why if Cameroon should release water from the dam, we are at the mercy of whatever is coming from there. Nothing we can do. So if we states can begin to build, I keep advocating that we should build small dams, especially within the tributaries of River Benue. You have Donga is there. Yes, we have one in Kasimbila Dam on River Kasinala. Kasinala produces about 25 to 27% of the volume of River Benue. So it is a dam, River Kasinala is dammed. So we can regulate the rate of flow into River Benue. Donga is there, Taraba, Gongola, so many of them. So if states can build small dams within these tributaries, we will reduce what is coming into the main river that usually cause flooding.
Then now, what about the issue of creating artificial lake, from the overflowing banks? Is it a possibility?
That's what I mentioned earlier on. If you can divert, like in Abuja here, we have what we call Jabi Dam. It's an artificial lake. It's a diversion. States can take that step. This resource that is passing through your territory, can't you divert it at different points? Build a reservoir outside, which can now serve you year-round irrigated agriculture, which can go a long way to recharge the aquifer, the underground water. It can cool the atmosphere. If you go to Jabi Lake, Jabi Dam here, the atmosphere is cooled from time to time. The groundwater potential, the aquifer, the yield, what we call it, within Jabi was quite low before. But now, with that dam there, it has recharged the aquifer. So you can divert this natural flood passing through a territory, fresh water, and then begin to make use of it all year round.
All right, thank you very much indeed. Of course, we're talking about people who live along the floodplains, especially the coastal dwellers. At this point in time, this period of the year, what would you be telling them to do at this point? Because the predictions have been made and presented. Like you said, it depends on if people will hearken to the advice from your agency and the other relevant agencies, in this respect. So, what will you be telling them to do?
The advocacy remains: people should relocate to higher grounds. There is under the President Committee on flood relief and rehabilitation, some flood hostels have been built. Like if you go to Lokoja, there's a flood 2-story building, 2 of them there have been built. But often people don't go. It is only when they are caught, pants down, they now begin to move. So our advocacy remains that people should make plan B before the floods begin to come. Move to higher grounds. Africans know how to take care of their neighbors or their relatives. You can move to your brothers or your sisters in relatives' houses and stay for the time being until this season passes. So state government should be able to provide, or should try to provide, safe havens for their citizens who are living habitually within the floodplains. So that it has a period, mainly between July, August, and September. Maybe give October, it will be over. I was at Ibaji last year. It was about 100% submerged. Ibaji is in Lokoja. So what can you tell those people there?
Yeah, okay. Now, this is the final question, right? Now, you've done the predictions in April. Yes. But is there a kind of updating of this prediction as we move towards July, August, September? Will there be periodic or updated information with respect to flooding, so that people will now be aware? So this is about time. So if I'm moving, let me have a plan that could enable me save myself and my family.
Yes. One, there's a publication we make weekly that gives you the scenarios about the flood in Nigeria. We produce it weekly. And again, the agency, we have by the 23rd of this month, we commence what we call sensitization program, moving from city to city as much as we can, the resources can afford us. We'll be visiting so many locations to still, downscale or cascade what we have said in Abuja. That is being released to them anyway from different sources, but we'll be going physically then to some of those locations that are quite prominent in terms of what we have predicted, to still inform them. Now, the other side of this issue, what has happened in Abuja and other locations, what we call urban flooding. They should begin to clear their drainages. Don't wait until it comes. People building within the floodplain, like some estate developers who try to maximize profit and then encroach within the natural floodplain. They should stop all those things and demolish the houses.
All right. Well, we'd like to thank you so much for your insight and, of course, the advice you've given. We're in a very critical period, being the rainy season, and so it's better to take precautionary measures, as he has said. It's been great talking to you this evening on Weekend File. I have been speaking with the Director General of the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency, Engineer Clement Onyasonze. Thank you.
Thank you, Gideon.
This is the Weekend File. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be rounding off tonight's edition of the program.
One Football Confederation, 24 teams, 6 stadiums, 4 cities, 504 African stars, 1 trophy. The Africa Cup of Nations Egypt 2019 comes alive from June 21 with the showpiece final on July 19, 2019. Watch the 52 matches of the tournament live on Africa's biggest and largest television network, NTA, in partnership with Hot Sports. Be part of the biggest soccer fiesta in the African continent as the Super Eagles go on a bold mission to clinch the prestigious title for the 4th time, to the excitement of millions of fans across the length and breadth of Nigeria. For inquiries, please contact Abubakar on 0803-331-0175 and Felix on 0803-308-2375. NTA, you can't beat the rich.
They are there at the crack of dawn. They are there busy preparing while we rise for our day. They are there silently, guarding, waiting, listening, and watching. They are there ready in the sky above and the waters below, in the blistering heat of the day, in the dead of night, willing, indefatigable, determined in the defense of the sovereignty of our country. They are our first line of defense and our last. They who have paid the ultimate price in defending us. They are fathers and uncles. They are mothers and sisters and girlfriends and boyfriends. They are brothers and cousins and best friends and neighbors. They are classmates, colleagues, and citizens of this nation. They are our defenders and deserve our respect, our prayers, our thoughts. Nigeria, please support our armed forces.
And to sports matters now. We are going to be bringing you the Armed Forces Marathon, where the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps has once again demonstrated its dominance in the Chief of Defense Staff, Armed Forces and Security Agencies Half Marathon, as correspondent Clement Oloruntoba reviews the 3rd edition, which held Saturday in Abuja.
The Chief of Defense Staff, Armed Forces and Security Agencies 21.5 kilometers half marathon, which is in its 3rd year running, is the initiative of the current Chief of Defense Staff, General Gabriel Olonisakin.
It is the desire of the Defense Headquarters under my watch to restore these glorious days by using the platform provided by the Half Marathon Championship.
This year's edition had 180 participants from 10 security agencies, and for the first time witnessed veteran athletes, including the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tuku Buratai. Gideon Goyet, who won the first edition in 2017, took the lead to the finishing point at the Agui Urosika tournament to cut away the star prize in 1 hour, 7 minutes and 43 seconds. Deborah Palm, who won the first and second editions, did not disappoint as she proved her worth in the 2019 edition.
The way they promote it this year is very, very good.
I'm feeling happy, excited that I still won the 3rd edition of Armed Forces Games.
As the federal government is focused on building a well-equipped and united armed forces and security agencies, I urge you all to embrace the spirit of the Games motto, "Together we are."
The 4th edition will be in year 2020 in Abuja. Clement Olorutoba, NTA News.
Now let's bring in Olumide Guntola, who is going to be reporting on the batch of Team Nigeria departing for Cape Verde for the African Beach Games, and of course the winners of 2019 Under-20 FIFA World Cup.
The second batch, made up of basketball, soccer and volleyball teams, left the country on Saturday with promises to mount the podium at the Continental Beach Games.
Both genders are ranked in Africa in the first 10 group. So we know nothing less than a gold medal for the female. And any medal for the male is acceptable.
Target is to bring the cup, not more than the cup, or to qualify to go to, I think, San Diego coming up.
3 weeks training, we've been training since we'll come back with something for the country.
I know we are going to do our best.
A total of 33 athletes will represent the country at the Games in 7 sports out of the 11 featuring in the competition. About 30 under-19 male volleyball players have resumed camping in Kaduna State in preparation for the World Volleyball Championship scheduled to hold in August in Tunisia. Benny Adams reports that the players and the officials who are in high spirits trained twice a day at the outdoor court of Ahmadu Bello Stadium with the zeal to make Nigeria proud at the Junior World Volleyball Tournament.
We are aware that the teams that are coming, they will be strong as well, and which will not.
3 teams, Falcons, Crouchers and Beasts, competed in the one-day tournament, which Team Beasts emerged winners of the 5th edition of the Mixed Netball Tournament, organized by the Lagos-based Bringing Netball Back Club to Nigeria. At the end of the day, Team Beasts defeated Team Crouchers 11-7 to emerge champions.
And we're now really just working it out so that we can pull out this talent from grassroots.
Because it all starts with the youth, right? Once they enjoy the sport, they will keep on playing it.
The mixed tournament provided opportunity for BNB Club to showcase another version of the game to spectators who are unfamiliar with the netball. With sports updates, Olumide Guntola, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed sadness over the death of Senator Babayo Garba Gamawa, describing the lawmaker as an invaluable and immeasurable asset. The president condoled with the senator's family, government and people of Bauchi State. A statement by the senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity, Garba Shehu, says Gamawa's stroll was not only politically significant and bold, but also contributed to the success of the APC in the presidential election of February 29. The president described the late senator as a grassroots politician who wielded enormous influence on account of the tremendous love he enjoyed, adding that it would be difficult to forget Senator Gamawa's immense contribution to the government or the governing party's successes and development of democracy in Nigeria. President Buhari prays for the repose of the soul of the deceased and prays God to reward his good deeds in paradise. Now, the remains of former Deputy National President of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Senator Babayo Garba, has been laid to rest in his hometown, Kemawa, in Kemawa local government area of Bauchi State. Mahood Ibn Mohammed reports that the federal government's delegation led by Governor Atiku Bagudu of Kebbi State were among hundreds of sympathizers who attended the burial.
It was a sad moment for the people of Gamawa
Bauchi State and Nigeria on the demise of Senator Babio Garba Gamawa at the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University Teaching Hospital, Bauchi, after a brief illness. Gamawa town stood still as sympathizers from far and near paid their last respect to the former senator in the 7th Senate, a former deputy governor of Bauchi State and a one-time speaker of the Bauchi State House of Assembly, received by Bauchi State Governor Senator Bala Muhammad. The federal government delegation, led by Governor Atiku Bagudu of Kebbi State, conveyed the condolence message of President Muhammadu Buhari. Age 53, led Senator Babio Gamawa